Hello super friends and welcome to DC TV Talk, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down and reviewing Supergirl Season 4 Episode 4, otherwise entitled Ahisma. And before you proceed with the video, be sure you've watched this episode as it will be filled with spoilers. So after delivering an absolutely spectacular episode last week with Man of Steel, I was very excited to see where Supergirl was going to go from that point on. However, my fear that, that episode of Man of Steel was going to be a one-off, given how separate and standalone it was, I did also have a fear in the back of my head that, Supergirl was just going to continue on at the point it was due to, it going back to the main storyline, and unfortunately, those fears were very well founded. So we finally get to see that new suit in action that's been shown in the trailers, and we got teased last week, that basically robotic Power Rangers suit, or as Manchester Black in this episode referred to it as Daft Punk, which again is a very good comparison. To be honest, this suit didn't really work for me. I mean, the fight in the carnival, like in the daytime, like in the day shots, did look nice in the daylight, but for me, this suit didn't really work for me. It was really dumb. It just came out of nowhere. It could do all these different things. It could fly all over the place. It could do all these jumps, and it was just like, I just didn't really buy it. It didn't really work for me in my head. I wasn't really a big fan of this suit. There was a really cool shot when Kara took off the helmet and, like, her lovely long flowing hair came out. That was quite a cool shot, admittedly, but for me, this suit, I'm kind of glad it's going away because I don't really need it. I think it's a bit dumb. Like I say, I think it's a bit too over the top. However, I would like to see Supergirl get a new suit. I just don't think this is the correct choice. Also, huge props to Chyla Lee. She was excellent in this episode as Alex. I mean, I say this pretty much every week about Supergirl on the podcast and things. Alex is, like, consistently one of the best parts of this show, and she was great here. She did a great performance. I love the fact she's really stepped up, as, the director of the DEO, and she's there directing everybody, doing these good inspirational speeches where she's actually talking about, motivation and leadership and why all the employees of the DEO work there in the first place. And her command over Kara was also really impressive. I like the fact that, Kara, being as stubborn as she is, thinks that she can't really be reined in, but I like the fact that Alex is like, no, you're an employee of the DEO, I'm now the director, you will listen to me, you will obey my orders. And I like that. I think that was a really good character turn. And even though it hasn't necessarily squandered their relationship at all, it was just a really good scene, and I like to see Alex step up because I think her character really deserves it. James actually got to go out as Guardian briefly, which I never thought was going to happen given, the circumstances. So he goes out in this final thing on his bike, and he goes out on his bike, which has like these massive spikes coming out the side to trip up all these guys. That was really dumb. But other than that, it was quite funny just to see James go out again as Guardian. I like James, I like Guardian, so it was cool to see that. But it does kind of lead into this scene at the end where Naya comes in and is like, oh yeah, well, you're trending on Twitter, but you see it's kind of in a bad light. And what was interesting is the article that she shows him was actually written by Ben Lockwood, who is of course Agent Liberty, so it seems like James is trying to get some bad press. Will we see James go to prison this season? That would be quite fun. As a good little parallel to Arrow, that would be quite interesting if James went to prison. I'd actually like to see that. It'd actually give James something to do. It'd give him a storyline, so sure, why not? But yeah, James goes out as Guardian. This is our first appearance of Guardian this season, so it was nice to see him out there. I just don't know where this is actually going to go. Personally, I don't think it's going to go anywhere because it's James, and we never get storylines with James, so it's probably just going to stay as is. Now, Mercy and Otis Graves have a fairly large role in this episode in terms of the villain plot. Now, what I was very happy to see at the end of this episode is they actually get killed off. And this was very pleasing to me. If you've been watching these reviews, you'll know I'm not a big fan of Mercy and Otis Graves. I thought they were terrible characters, especially Otis Graves. He was horrendous for me. But both of them get killed off at the exact same moment, and I was very happy with this choice. Like I say, I just don't think that these characters were entertaining. I don't think they were threatening. I don't think they were fun to watch in any way. I don't think they were entertaining. I just didn't like the characters. So to see them get killed off, I was very pleased with. And to bring up something else, I did say on the podcast last week that I felt that Supergirl was maybe going to have a villain problem this season, having too many villains, because, you had the Graves twins, Agent Liberty, this Red Kara, Manchester Black, like there's all these different characters coming in, and I was like, I think that's too many villains. So the fact they've gotten rid of Mercy and Otis, they were definitely the weak links of the villain group, so it was good to get rid of them, and I'm glad they're gone, to be honest. I'm not going to miss them at all. But now that Mercy and Otis Graves have gone, this has allowed Benjamin Lockwood, otherwise known as Agent Liberty, to step up in the villain role. Agent Liberty is definitely my favourite villain out of the group that we know we're getting, because like I say, that last episode we got all about him was incredible. And yeah, now that they're gone, he isn't really working for anybody, so he's stepped up, and I like that. So this is probably going to put Agent Liberty in a lot more of a prominent villain position, which I'm very happy about. I can't wait to see him actually interact with other characters. Like, I really want to see him actually go out there and fight some people. I think that'd be really fun. Although maybe he's not the fighting character, maybe that's not what he does, because he doesn't seem to be the kind of, you know, hand-to-hand fight combat guy. But I'd definitely like to see him interact with some other characters. I'm really excited to see that happen. So let's just get Agent Liberty out there. He's stepped up now. He's kind of playing, I guess, the role of the big bad of the season. So I'm very happy about that. Let's just get Agent Liberty out there. Now, I've mentioned him a couple times in this review, but in this episode we finally got the introduction of David Ajala as Manchester Black, and I was a little bit weird with Manchester Black. I wasn't quite sure. I kind of forgot he was in this season, to be honest, until I started reading up about this episode. But yeah, Manchester Black is introduced in this episode. It turns out he is actually the husband of Fiona, which is the girl that Jean has been looking for this season. It's really good, actually, to tie him into that storyline. I like the fact that he's tied with John. I didn't expect that. And I thought that was really, actually, quite a nice way to bring him in to the story and into the season. And overall, David Ajala, I think, was great in this. I really enjoyed Manchester Black, actually. I thought he was a really fun addition. It's nice to have a British actor on the show, and I enjoy seeing that. And I really like seeing, or at least, you know, a British actor who can actually be in his British accent, because David Harewood, who plays John, is actually a British actor as well. But it was nice to actually have, you know, a Brit on the show. That was really fun. And just his play with Jean was really interesting. I like his mannerisms. He's very different to everybody else, and I don't know if that is just because of the cultural thing or what have you, but it's just, again, he adds like a new flavour to Supergirl, which is nice to see. And I enjoyed his character, and also, given that Fiona dies in this episode in front of him, I'm guessing this is what kicks him off to be a villain, because we do see him basically purchase a lot of weapons at the end of the episode. So I don't know if he's going to become a full-fledged villain, or he's going to become an anti-hero vigilante type character. I kind of hope they go with the anti-hero vigilante thing, where he kind of walks the line, kind of like Vigilante in Arrow. I kind of hope they go down that route with him, because I feel like that's a lot more interesting than just doing a straight villain, because we've seen that a million times before. It'd be quite fun if he becomes like an anti-hero vigilante who, you know, maybe will occasionally team up with Team Supergirl, or, you know, they'll have to try and like stop him and things like that. I think that's a lot more interesting, and given that he's a bit more of a shades of grey character, I hope that's the route they take. But I like Manchester Black overall. I'm definitely excited to see what they do with him. I really like his introduction. I think David Ajala is a really good choice to play him, and I just enjoy his performance overall. So yeah, I'm definitely down for more Manchester Black. And we also got the final scene of the episode, or pretty much the final scene, where we actually got the next part of the Red Kara saga. We got to see that Red Kara has actually been kept inside of a massive kind of tank that she was being stored in, due to the fact that the air was filled with kryptonite. So while our Kara was having to deal with that, this Red Kara has had to deal with that. So I guess this tells us that this version of Kara has the exact same powers, and also the exact same effects and the exact same weaknesses that our Kara has. So obviously we still don't know anything about this Kara. We don't know what she does. We don't know where she's from, who she is, what's going on with her, why is she in Russia. Like, we don't know any of this stuff. But you know, it's nice to get these little teasers. Obviously, we do know that this character is not really going to come into play until the back half of the season. But these little teasers, I am enjoying them. I just wish we had a little bit more information, but I don't know, maybe that's what they're intending. But yeah, it's nice to get another thing with this, because we haven't actually seen anything with Red Kara since episode 1, so it was nice to see this. And yeah, I'm definitely interested to see more of her. Overall, though, I think this episode, again, just kind of fell back into the, you know, bad parts of Supergirl Season 4. I mean, it's nowhere near as bad as the first two, but it's nowhere near as good as Episode 3. I think this kind of sits in the middle. Like, it's okay. Like, it's an alright episode of Supergirl. It's not too bad. Like, it was actually kind of watchable, this one, unlike the first two. So, I will say that. This episode is, you know, not the worst I've seen. It was okay. I didn't, you know, there were a lot of elements I did enjoy. Like I say, Manchester Black and seeing Mercy and Otis Grace get killed was very entertaining for me. But some stuff, like the Guardian stuff being reintroduced, and then, like, the new suit was really dumb. So I don't know, there are some elements in this that really did kind of knock it down for me. It's an alright episode, but definitely not the strongest that Supergirl has ever delivered. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like. It'll help me out a lot. And share this video with anyone and everyone you know who loves DC TV, and get them to join the community. And as always, guys, please subscribe for all of your latest content on Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and Arrow. And with all that said, guys, I hope to see you again in my next video.